Because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
You thought the game was over, but it's only just begun.
Well, to that Massacre, no one is safe. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So we are less than a week away from seeing the Saw 10 movie. Okay, I got my tickets. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see this thing with my own two eyes and to just go through this like it's early 2000s once again, seeing that Saw film. Okay, now Comic Book had some interviews with production designer Anthony Stabley and director Kevin Greutert regarding the Saw 10 film, but we got some little nits and bits of some extra information regarding the future of Saw, Tobin Bell in general, and a couple things I really had to talk about here because I thought it was really important. I think we all deserve to know a lot more information. Hopefully not give away too much here, but it is very exciting, so let's get straight into it. Questions were asked of the new Saw film in general, but really talking about Tobin Bell, okay? So Comic Book did ask in this interview, will the Saw franchise ever replace Tobin Bell as Jigsaw? Now, interesting to say on the information that we get from them is it seems unlikely, Glutzer revealed, the filmmaker who has directed 3 of the Saw films and edited 6 of them, including Saw X, then went on to make a comparison that should have fans excited at the prospect, comparing Tobin Bell's role as Jigsaw to another iconic character. You know, Mads Mikkelsen took over for Anthony Hopkins in the role of Hannibal Lecter. And you know, we need somebody on that level. My question to all of this is, I know a lot of fans are going to say, some Saw fans are saying to end this franchise after this movie. So, you know, Tobin Bell is 81 years old. He can't make too many more films, you know, and he's just getting up there, like, you know, and, it seemed like there was really no problems during this film when it came to Tobin Bell's acting. I don't, you know, he barely has to do much of anything but walk around and talk most of the time and bring back that iconic voice we have all been missing. But to replace Tobin Bell, a lot of fans are probably not going to like that. If they were going to replace Tobin Bell and do a pure reboot of this franchise, they would have to make the story of this new upcoming individual that's taking Jigsaw's spot. It has to be a very good story of how he became the next Jigsaw. And he has to be likable. And this is going to be a tough task. Now, we all know Kevin Greutert, the director of this film, does not like Saw Spiral at all. He thought, quote unquote, it was gutsy that Tobin Bell was not in the film. And I think Kevin Greutert really wants to take over this franchise purely. And I totally, you know, I don't mind. Look, the writer's right, and that's all that matters. Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger are the 2 writers. They did Jigsaw. They did Saw Spiral. I didn't really mind the writing too much. But director-wise, you have the best guy in the seat right now with Kevin Greutert, that was an editor for a lot of years. Since the first day of the first Saw film, he has edited almost every Saw film. He directed Saw 6, one of my favorite Saw films, and he directed the final chapter, which was the last Saw film at the time. Okay, now, like I said, like he did a comparison of Mads Mikkelsen, which if you haven't watched Hannibal, the new Hannibal series that came out not too long ago, you know, a while ago, you know, sometimes it's really hard to reboot an iconic franchise. You know, Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal was obviously the best, and for Mads Mikkelsen to go in there and really kind of change it up just a little tiny bit, but keep that same scary, you know, it really involves everybody, and I think you can do it. A lot of Saw fans will say this is impossible without Tobin Bell. It's nothing, but they would have to bring in a guy that is obviously a well-known actor. You can't bring in somebody so random. At this point of the stage of acting, you really have to get someone that is well-known and somebody that maybe isn't too well-known, but somebody that just has that voice and has a good background story of how the next guy could turn into the next Jigsaw for a full-fledged reboot of the film and the story. I thought this was a very interesting question because, you know, what if this movie does really well? How many more Saw films is Tobin Bell going to be in? And how many more prequels are we going to have going forward, since this this is really, I mean, there's been prequel scenes in a lot of the Saw films, but we never had an actual prequel movie like this one, which is a full-fledged story of John Kramer to Jigsaw and himself, and why he is doing this game. And this obviously takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2, which the director and producer have already said that this movie is pretty much Saw 2, even though it's not. It's in direct connection weeks after Saw 1, so they gave us a little timestamp on that as well. On top of that important question, which I thought it was great, this was another one which I thought it was even more great and more interesting to find out, is what do you think long-term fans are excited to see in Saw 10? And this is what Anthony Stabley and Kevin Gruchard had to say about it.
Return of John Kramer. Not only is he back, but he's everything. He's the center of this film, and Tobin did such a great job really inhabiting this character, making sure everybody involved in the process respected the kind of rules of the Jigsaw universe. It was like a great mentor to all of us.
Definitely going to be looking forward to these diabolical traps that we've created. They're going to love this fresh aspect that we went to Mexico to make the film. There are a lot of surprises, as you know, at the end of the movie, so it's going to be pretty excellent.
That is a lot of information to really bring in. I mean, that's a lot right there, okay? Gruchard mentions Tobin Bell. He's everything to the franchise. And what I really liked about what he said right there was respecting the rule of the Jigsaw universe, which I think is awesome. Respecting the roles of all the Jigsaw characters, I think, is so awesome. And having, like, I'm telling you, for a guy that's been in this franchise for a long time, and Kevin Gruchard has been around all of these films, whether he was an editor, whether he was a director, whatever the case may be, he has respected the fact that bringing Tobin Bell back not only will excite the fans, but he will treat the character and any characters in this film with a lot of respect going forward, and I couldn't ask for more, to be honest with you. I was very happy with that. We get more from Anthony Stabley, the production designer, and talks about a fresh aspect going into Mexico. Why does this make sense? You know, to find out where this game is being held up in Mexico at this point. How do they find this building? They're going to play this empty, you know, in every movie, every Saw movie, there's always a building. There's always the bathroom scene or something. We're going to find an empty space to get this game going. How does, does Amanda follow him over to Mexico later on? Mark Hoffman, we find out what's going on with him during this film, which we haven't seen anything on Mark Hoffman yet. But Mexico, I think, is going to connect this really well because nobody knows who John Kramer is in Mexico. Nobody has an idea of anything that would be going on in their city right now, and what's going on with this game, and obviously the police will catch on sooner or later in this film, which I think is really cool. The diabolical traps and what we're going to see. We've seen the brain surgery trap. We've seen the blood board trap when the blood is going on the guy's face, where kind of like waterboarding, but it's blood boarding, which is interesting. Which I think it's another one there. The eye trap, which I think everybody's excited for, especially from the clip that we did see a week ago. I wonder if there's going to be a lot more. I understand you have the pipe bomb trap, but the guy has the pipe bombs on each of his wrists, so there's a lot going on there. I wonder if there's going to be more. Maybe we haven't seen much of anything going forward. And then lastly, talked about a lot of surprises at the end of the film, which is obviously the twist ending, the Zeb Saw theme song that's going to play at the end. How is this going to play out? Obviously, John is going to live. Amanda's going to live. I think all the survivors are going to die because they can't live to tell this story. It wouldn't make any sense going down the line, as much as I think that Pedersen, the main female doctor, will be the last survivor that ends up getting axed at the end of this film regardless. There's going to be a lot of surprises in this film. What surprises can we see in this film? Guys, remember what Kevin Gruchard did say, a little bit after Midsummer Scream, when they actually came out with the trailer and came out with the, they showed the audience the video to the eye trap. Unanswered questions in the Saw franchise are going to be in this film. It's going to be very interesting to see what they tie up in here. I don't know what it could be. I have no idea, but there's a million things that could happen here. It could be from maybe they'll take something from Saw the Final Chapter. Maybe they already have an idea for the next movie. Maybe they have an idea for the next Saw film. As much as Jigsaw, the movie, is a part of this franchise, Spiral will not be. And Kevin Greutert Oz, you know that Kevin will not have Spiral in this story because it makes no sense. And Spiral is a good enough movie to be as its own identity, just as a standalone in the Saw universe type of movie, and that's perfectly fine. But the twist ending and surprises, oh man, I cannot wait for this to come out. I'm glad they're not giving us too much information here because I definitely want to savor it. I want to get excited before I go into that movie theater and watch this and just be so in love with this franchise all over again. You know what I mean? When you don't watch a film for a long time and you, not like you lose your love for it, but because you haven't seen it, I'm going to sit in that theater like it was the early 2000s all over again and watch something that I've just always wanted to watch, bringing this movie back to his roots. This is a different type of movie, as Kevin Greutert has said. You know, this is a first prequel type movie. That's a fully prequel movie. That's, you know, an hour and 45, hour and 40 minutes, whatever it's going to be, with credits involved. We're going to get a lot of scenes and a lot of things we're going to jump out of our seats for. If this, I really hope that this movie is successful. I hope it makes a lot of money, and I just hope it does really well. For this movie is dedicated to the long-term Saw fans. This movie is in dedication to all of us that love Tobin Bell. And by the way, their trailer for the Saw 10 trailer on Lionsgate's YouTube channel has been the highest view counted trailer out of all the Saw trailers they have ever put out, because I think Jigsaw had 19 million. They're at 20 million views on that video already, which is meaning that a lot of people are just so excited and ready to go see this thing, and I hope it kills in the box office, guys. So that is all the news I have for the day on Saw X. And you know, the comic book interviewed Kevin Greutert and Anthony Stabley on just in general some of the questions, and could there be more films in the future without Tobin Bell? And if you do that, Kevin Greutert's smart. He knows what he has to do if you need to replace Jigsaw, and it's not going to be easy. This is going to take time, and you need a good story, because if you mess up the story of who the next Jigsaw is, nobody's going to like it going forward, and it's really going to be a bad start to a new reboot. And a lot of Saw fans are going to say, just let it go. Let it go after this movie until, until Tobin Bell is done with this franchise. That's just going to be it. But I'm glad they're being respectful. I'm glad they're going back to his roots. I'm glad that with the cinematography, the coloring, what they're doing, just making our hearts melt at this point. It's just a fantastic feeling. So that's all I got to say. If you lasted this long in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video for more Saw 10 content. Obviously, after I see the movie, after the first night, the next day, we will have spoiler review, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion of this film later this week. You guys have a great day. Keep running. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.